Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you don't know who I am, my name is Brianna, and today we are going to be doing another reading vlog of reading Book of the Month books. I did this video in March or maybe early April, and I love doing it because I had a few Book of the Month books on my physical TBR that I hadn't gotten to yet, and I now have 4 Book of the Month books that have piled up onto my TBR that I haven't read yet. I have loved my Book of the Month subscription. I've had it for almost 2 years. This is not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form. I wish, that would be dream come true because I truly love my subscription. I feel like I'm always finding just great books, new authors, and they've all, for the most part, been really good. I think there's been 1 or 2 books that I didn't love, but out of 2 years of books almost, that's pretty good. If you guys have never seen any of my reading vlogs, I will read a few books. I will give you updates throughout. It is all spoiler free, of course. And after I finish each book, I will give you my overall thoughts, opinions, my rating, if I would recommend it. And then at the end, of course, a little recap of everything that I read. So if that sounds interesting to you, let's get cozy and let's read together. The first book that I want to read for today's video is my May Book of the Month pick, and this is The Man Made of Smoke by Alex North. And first of all, I think this cover is so cool because it has that smoky effect on it. At first, when I took a picture of this book before I actually looked at the cover with my own eyes, not through a camera, I was like, oh, it's not focusing. But no. That's how it's supposed to look because it's through smoke. I just love that. This is a thriller book. I thought it would be fun to start with a thriller mystery in this video because I've been reading so much romance lately, and I haven't read a good thriller in a hot minute, I don't think. I know a lot of people were really excited for this in May for Book of the Month. And since I don't know the overall premise of the book, I'm just going to read you the little synopsis here. It says, Dan Garvey's life has been haunted by the crime he witnessed as a child, narrowly escaping an encounter with a notorious serial killer. He has dedicated his life since to profiling criminals, eager to seek justice for innocent victims. So when his father dies under suspicious circumstances, Dan revisits the small island community where he grew up, determined to uncover the truth about his death. Is it possible that the monster he remembers from his childhood nightmares has returned after all these years? With his signature shock and suspense, Alex North brings us The Man Made of Smoke. By turns emotional, introspective, and utterly terrifying, this is a story of fathers and sons, shadows and secrets, and the fight we all face to escape the trauma of the past. It looks like it'll be a fairly short, quick read. Yeah, right around 300 pages. So I feel like this will be the perfect book to really get us into this video because I feel like with all of the thrillers I pick from Book of the Month, I just can never put them down. Also, the fact that it might be scary, I'm definitely going to have to read this during the day when I'm not home alone. So maybe I will go start reading it outside right now. Okay, it is a little while later from when I started The Man Made of Smoke, and also don't mind my amazing outfit. It's very hot outside. It's 90 degrees outside and it's 6 o'clock at night. So very hot, but that means it's very cold in my house because of the AC blaring all day. So I have this cute little robe on over my outfit so I'm not freezing filming this update. Anyways, I am on page 105. So we're a third of the way through the book, which I think is pretty good considering I just started this a little bit ago. I've been reading it kind of in chunks. I haven't had a good time to sit down and read for a longer length of time. It's been in 20-minute increments probably. So I feel like that's a pretty good start to the book today. It has felt very fast paced, but also I feel like there's definitely some psychological aspects happening in this where I have to take a step back and I'm like, whoa, what is going on right here? What am I reading? I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm a little bit confused, but not like in a bad way per se. I'm just like, what's going on there? Like, I don't know. If you read the book, you would understand. But anyways, let me tell you more about this book. So it's about Daniel, who, when he was a kid, he had this like close encounter with a serial killer, and that has obviously like kind of scarred him for life. And now he works as, I don't remember what they called it, a profiler? I don't know. He kind of gives me the same vibes as Dexter, because he will like profile these criminals. Like, he works in a prison and he's like this therapist or some sort of thing, psychiatrist maybe, at this prison. So his patients are literally prisoners who have committed terrible crimes, and he kind of like tries to get to the root cause of what caused them to commit those crimes. So like in the beginning of the book, I had no idea that this was the main character's job. Like, it never says anything like that. I've never read a book like that. I didn't even know this was a career that people could have, to like be this mental health expert in a prison. I just thought that was so cool. So when I read that in the first couple chapters, I was like, I love that. What can I say? I love that. So in the first, maybe it was like the first actual chapter, whatever, just like within the first 20 pages, we find out that this is his job. And one of the prisoner patients, murders women with black curly hair. And Daniel is trying to like pick apart this prisoner's brain to understand why he targets girls with black curly hair as his victims. I just think that is so interesting. I mean, obviously, reading about a serial killer, kind of scary. It's just like really scary that people in the world actually exist who are like this. Like, that is scary. That terrifies me a little bit. Hence why I will not be reading this when I am home alone or anything. Because nope. But basically, we're now following Daniel after his father has committed suicide. But there's just like some fishy stuff with his dad's suicide. Like, because Daniel is like, no, he was never like a suicidal person. Like, he hasn't said anything lately that would make me think he would drive himself to suicide. So now Daniel is kind of investigating it with another person on the police force, because his dad was also on the police force. So it's just like, what is going on? And then some chapters have been the POV of Daniel's dad, and they're really interesting. I don't know, like, I don't know what I should all say without like giving too much away, because obviously I don't want to spoil anything. Not that what I have said so far would spoil anything. It all happens like pretty soon, pretty quick after you start the book. Obviously the synopsis, like, we know his dad is dead. We know he had a close encounter with a serial killer when he was younger. So basically the only thing I've told you about is his job. And again, that's in like the first or second chapter. I'm really enjoying it. I do think it's going pretty fast. Like, it has grabbed onto my attention. I don't think it's been boring at all. And I feel like that kind of has to do with like the psychological aspect of it, because I'm like, what am I actually reading right now? I don't know all the time. So I'm going to keep reading for probably a little bit tonight, and then probably get majority of it done tomorrow. I'll be back with an update at some point. Okay, I just finished A Man Made of Smoke, or The Man Made of Smoke, and let's just talk about it quickly. And I say quickly because hopefully it'll be quick. I don't know. I could just start yapping and not stop. We'll see. But I feel like I just don't have that much to say overall. First of all, because it's like a mystery thriller, and obviously I don't want to like give too much away other than the basic premise of the book, because you want to be surprised and you want to have shock value to the book as well if you read it. So I don't want to like really give you any more of the plot than I've already given you for the first 100 pages, because it just kind of continues to follow that same exact plot. Nothing's really changed up there. Also, I just feel like overall this was not my favorite mystery thriller I've ever read. This is definitely my least favorite book of the month mystery thriller that I've chosen for my book of the month. Which I give it a 3-star rating. So like, don't think it's a terrible book or anything. I just think I was a little bit disappointed because I think the overall premise and idea of this book sounds super interesting, super unique. Like, I've never really read anything like this before. So I was really, really excited for this. The early reviews of it had been great because I think when you guys are watching this, the book just came out last week. But I got this in my book of the month like 2 weeks ago, so it was an early release from book of the month. And just based on the early reviews that I saw and what people were saying, I was really hyped up about it. So I think I'm definitely disappointed because I went in expecting like a 4 or 5-star rating book, and it just was not that for me. I also feel like I just did not really care about these characters as much as I probably should have. And also, I just feel like I was getting so confused in the plot, and especially confused with all the different characters, because there's a lot of different side characters and there's a lot of like victims. Well, I don't know why I'm saying victims like that. Like, they are victims because this is a serial killer book. But all of the names are like the same, just boring generic name. I'm sorry if any of the names I'm about to say are your name. But we have like Dan, John, James, and then for girls we have like Abigail and Sarah, and it's like, I can't keep all these characters straight when their names are like so similar. Let's see, what else? The plot twist, it just felt like it was thrown in there, honestly. Like, I don't like guessing the plot twists of mystery thriller books because then I just feel like it's too easy. But when it's something that like can't even be guessable, it just feels like the author didn't really know what they wanted to do and just threw an ending in there. And then also, like, the ending period, I'm like, it just does not feel satisfying at all. I don't know, the more I'm talking about it, I'm like, is it a 3-star rating? But I was entertained by it. Like, I read it within 24 hours. It's very fast paced. I didn't want to put it down because I wanted to find out like who this killer was and what was going on with all of that. I also do really like Dan's career and how that kind of helped him crack the case. And there is like some sort of a psychological, almost like paranormal feeling aspect to the book, and I love psychological thrillers. Psychological thrillers are definitely my favorite type of thriller, so I did really enjoy that as well. I don't know, I might have to sit on my rating with this a little bit more, but as of right now, I'll give it like a 3-star rating. If you read this, please comment your thoughts and just, yeah, overall what you thought of it, what you kind of interpreted with it. And I am probably going to start my next book of the month book tomorrow because tonight I am going to tour a house. So we'll see what happens with that and like what happens when I get home and all that jazz. So I just don't know how much more time I'm gonna get to read today, so that's why I say I'll probably start it tomorrow. So I'll see you when I pick the next book. This is so sad. Like, there's so many cute parts, but there's also so many sad parts, just like regarding or referring to anxiety and depression, and I feel that so deep in my soul. You guys, this book is hitting me very, very hard. Oh gosh. Okay guys, I started Passion Project today for my next book of this video of reading only book of the month books. This was my April pick, yes, and I wish I would have read this immediately after I got it because I have been loving it so much so far. I'm about 100 pages in, actually like 120 maybe. So I've definitely gotten a good chunk into it today, and also it is just flying by. Like, I sat down to read and it felt like I had just sat down and I had already read 100 pages and I was like, what is going on? I am just loving it so much. I don't want to put it down. I'm loving the character. I am loving the story overall. So what this one is about is, I think she's 25 years old, but our main character, Bennett, is just not having a great life, honestly, which we learn more about as you keep reading. I'm not going to tell you what, like, she is so severely depressed about, because you will learn that later when you read the book. Within the first 100 pages, you'll learn that. But her friend sets her up to go on a date with our male main character. So Bennett and Henry are supposed to go on this date together. Bennett ends up having like a severe panic attack when they're supposed to be having this date, and then she thinks she's never gonna see him again, and she's fine with that because she's like humiliated by how she acted and everything. But she does end up running into him again, and she's like, I just don't feel life, honestly. And he's like, we need to find you something to be happy about in life. Like, you shouldn't just be existing, you need to be living your life and have something like worth living for in your life. So they're kind of becoming friends as Henry is trying to help Bennett like find a hobby or a career that she really, really loves, that is something that gets her out of bed during the day and she's happy doing it. So I really do like that overall aspect of the book, but I also just love Bennett's character. Like, I feel so seen because Bennett suffers from anxiety and depression, and as someone who also suffers from both of those things, I feel like the representation is there. Like, the author has been able to describe how I feel to a T, and I feel like sometimes it's kind of hard to describe what anxiety and what depression actually feels like unless you are someone who goes through it. Then you understand it, obviously. But like, even me to my husband understands my anxiety and my depression, but like, he doesn't understand himself having it and like how it actually feels in your own mind, in your own body, to suffer those things. I literally sent my husband a video of me crying during this book because I just felt like it was so perfect. And this was before I was even 100 pages into the book. I had already cried a few times, like more so teared up earlier in the book, but I was like full on crying before 100 pages into the book. So I'm like, if it's already affecting me this much, how hard is it going to be affecting me by the end of it? But one of the quotes that got me, that I was like, this Bennett is me. I am Bennett. We are one of the same. She was talking about like going and doing something with Henry because Henry is kind of planning all of these like dates, not necessarily dates because they're not like dating in a romantic way, they're just trying to be friends. Bennett is like, pro, I have plans tomorrow. Con, I have plans tomorrow. Yeah, that's me. It's like, yeah, when I am invited to do something, or I don't know, let's just say I'm invited to do something by a friend, I'm like, yeah, like that sounds so fun. And I'm so happy that they invited me and thought of me and like had me in mind and just had that intention to do something with me, right? But then at the same time, I'm like, oh, I hate like social interactions. I just want to stay home and like keep to myself, which is not healthy. I acknowledge that. I'm just loving Bennett's character, and how she handles her anxiety and depression is very real and reminds me a lot of my own self. So I'm really enjoying the book for that aspect because I feel like I can relate to it so much. And also, it's just like a quick and simple read. I feel like we are gonna have some romance in it, but also we just see strong friendships and just stronger relationships in general. And I'm hoping we see some character development within Bennett's character to see if she can kind of try and tackle what she's dealing with and like move on from it in a sense. Not that I'm saying anxiety and depression is just something you can just move on and forget, but when you have better coping mechanisms for it, I'm hoping that we see that for her a little bit, which I'm sure we will. Like, I'm sure it'll have a happy ending. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. And I feel like just reading this is helping my own headspace and helping with my own anxiety. Like, I suffer from anxiety more so than depression. I do have more depressive episodes and depressive moments, but I'm not like chronically depressed. So I think it'll honestly be beneficial to me if I can read about Bennett's character and how she is able to cope with her anxiety a little bit more. And I also just think that Henry is like the sweetest character. It's really funny to see their dynamic because Bennett is obviously so introverted and then Henry is so extroverted. So that's kind of funny, but he just seems like a really caring character. And in a way it reminds me of my husband because like some days when I'm having a bad day, my husband will know how to deal with me better than I know how to deal with myself. Like, he knows what I need more than I know what I need in that moment. So I think that's really cute. And yeah, I am hoping to finish this tomorrow. I will probably pick it up and finish it in one sitting. So I'll probably see you then. Okay, I have finished Passion Project today, and guess what? I only cried like 3 more times reading the rest of this. Oh my gosh, I love this book. I love how it is fun, and it's funny. The characters are funny. They're a little quirky, not like weird quirky, but they have their quirks. They have their funny moments. But at the end of the day, this book has so much emotional depth. Like, I wouldn't go into it saying like, oh, this is a romance. I definitely would more so say it is like a women's fiction with some romance in it. We are following Bennett as she's going through a terrible, terrible time in her life. She is grieving her life, basically. She has a lot of things that she blames on herself, even things that are like out of her control, which as someone with anxiety and depression, I seriously think that's just like the perfect way to sum it all up, is that you will blame yourself for every little thing, even if it's out of your control. And even if you tell yourself like, it's not in my control, like, it will still really never leave your mind. So there are funny moments, there are beautiful moments, there are really sad moments. Like, this book has a great mix of everything, and I really like how it can balance all of those things, like not just focused on one thing, but it kind of shows all of the stages that you go through, like in your own head. Like, you'll be sad 1 minute and then you'll be happy, but then you'll be sad again because like something happy can remind you of that sad thing, and it's just a continuous cycle like that. I loved Bennett and Henry going from strangers to friends to more than friends. I thought that was really beautiful because I've kind of been in the same shoes as Bennett, where I myself felt like I wasn't ready to be with anyone else and I just wanted to take time to like fix myself. But there are so many moments in this book that kind of remind you, like, you don't need to be fixed. Like, you may feel broken, but you are not really broken. Like, you are still a beautiful person. And that's kind of where Bennett is at with Henry. Like, she feels like she's not really deserving of him in this current moment in her life. And I have been in that exact same spot with my now husband, where I pushed him away. And thank God I came to my senses and was like, no, this man is good for me, because now we're married, and we would not be married if I wouldn't have come to my senses. Like, we wouldn't be together whatsoever. So I really, really love it for all of that stuff. I will say Bennett definitely has realizations. She has, I think, pretty good character growth and development. She definitely realizes that what she was doing, kind of closing herself off and pushing people away, was wrong. Even though it didn't feel wrong in the moment, she realizes later that is wrong. That isn't how you should be treating the people that you love. And I am someone who also deals with that sometimes, where I will push people away and I will just try and hide up in my own little hole. And that's not the right thing to do. I will say I was feeling like this was going to be a 5-star read until near the end. Bennett did do some things that were making me really upset at her, and like my heart was genuinely, like, I felt my heart like break for these characters and what was going on, what Bennett was kind of putting them through. But because of the way that Bennett was acting for quite a few chapters there, which I guess isn't saying a lot because these chapters aren't super long, but yeah, I just did not really like that. And it was really self-sabotagey, which again is very real. Like, a lot of people will do that, especially when they're struggling with anxiety and depression. Like, that's gonna happen. But I feel like the way Bennett went around it wasn't as realistic. Like, I would have not done what she did. So that kind of took probably like a 1/2 star away from me. I think I'm gonna settle with a 4.5 star rating. So I love this book of the month. You did a great job with this one. I'm pretty sure it's the author's debut novel as well. Yeah, so that is really, really cool. See, this is why I love book of the month, because I probably never would have picked this book up if it wasn't an option for my April book. And it turned out to be an incredible book that I love so, so much, and that I feel like I relate to the main character so, so much. Let's go pick out the next book for this video. Oh my gosh, I wasn't recording, but I just tried to like toss this up in the air to like grab onto it better, and I fully like threw it, but then still caught it like this. And I really wish I would have caught that on camera, because it honestly was kind of cool, and I really shocked myself. I was not trying to throw it as much as I actually did, just trying to do like maybe that, but my bad. Anyways, it is the next day. I started God of the Woods last night. I think I got like 50 some pages into it, so honestly not a ton, because this is almost a 500 page book, I think. So I got a good little start to it, kind of like to understand what the book is going to be about, what we're going to be following. So that was good. And then today, so far, it's actually pretty late into the afternoon, but I am now on page 159. So I've read about 100 pages today. I think that's pretty good considering kind of what this book is about. So let's get into it. I know this book is pretty popular, honestly. I think it came out in like July or August 2024, and it was the Book of the Year winner for 2024. So yeah, I'm just trying to remember like what month this book was offered for Book of the Month. I didn't get it then, because I remember I wanted to get it because this one really grabbed my attention when I was reading the synopsis. But if I was gonna get this one, it said my book wouldn't be here till like the end of the month, and I was like, that kind of defeats the purpose of Book of the Month, because I feel like a lot of the time you get books early. So I decided on a different book, but then it was the Book of the Year winner. So I was able to get it for free from Book of the Month because I'm like I don't know. I don't remember what it's called. Is it just BFF or something with Book of the Month? Because I've had a subscription for so long. And it's a really beautiful edition. Like, I think it's really pretty anyways. But basically, I thought this was gonna have, oh, hello Pumpkin, my cat. Just plopped down next to me, one of my cats. This is Pumpkin, she's beautiful. There she is. Oh, she doesn't have a tail. Pumpkin, hi. This book, I thought it was gonna have some like magical realism in it. I don't know why. I feel like I remember when this book was initially offered from Book of the Month, they called it a magical realism. But also, I feel like they have called other books magical realism in the past that literally had no magical realism about them. So it's more so just playing out like a historical fiction as of right now. But again, I'm only like 150 pages in out of 500-ish pages, a little bit less than that. So who knows what could all happen, what's gonna all go down. But so far, it is basically just following the summer camp after Barbara, one of the campers. Is that what you call it if you're at a summer camp? I've never been to summer camp. Yeah, I'm just gonna say camper. She is 13 years old, I think, and she is from this like prestigious family. I think the family might own the camp or like the wooded area that the camp is on. So Barbara's going to the summer camp for the first time, and right away in the beginning of the book, she's missing. Like the camp, I don't know, supervisor, leader, whatever the camp like leaders are called basically, are like, we don't know where she is. So now there's a search for them, and you are following all these different characters like who are involved with the camp or involved with the family or like friends with Barbara from the time that they meet her in June when summer camp starts, and now it is August when she goes missing. And then you're also getting like background stories on a lot of these characters as well, like Barbara's family. You are getting to see in the 1950s and 1960s, and now it takes place in 1975 when Barbara's missing. So we're getting a lot of background information, and that's kind of all that's really happened so far. There are so many characters that we are getting information on. That is literally all that has been so far. And I'm just like more so curious about the actual mystery of this book. Like, where is Barbara? What happened? What is all going down? We also know that there is a serial killer who was previously in jail but escaped and now like could be in the region. So yeah, I'm hoping it just like dives more into the actual mystery of the book soon, like instead of just going into everyone's past and like their relationship with Barbara. I get that it's a long book. We need to build up a little bit, build up the world, build up the characters. I get that. I'm just like, okay, 150 pages. Any minute now, let's get to the good stuff. And honestly, because it's been so slow, I'm kind of shocked that it is the book of the year winner, because obviously like a lot of people have to love this book if it's the winner. I know there are a lot of people though who didn't enjoy this book or DNF'd it, and I can see how people would DNF it because it is kind of boring so far. So I'm just hoping it does start to pick up sometime soon. Like if we don't start picking up by page 200, I'm not gonna DNF it, but I will be bored. I feel like I have kind of been putting this one off because of that reason, just because I think the reviews are so polarized. Like people either love it or hate it, and that's just so scary going into a book where the reviews are like that, because obviously you hope to love it, but then there's also a good chance that you might not like it. I have had this book since like February or March, and it's now mid-May, like end May. So I've been putting it off a little bit because I've been nervous to start it. And yeah, I'm just saying I can see how people would be kind of bored and would dislike it. I am going to trudge through it and hope that it gets better. I'll be back with another update after reading some more of this. Okay, I have finally finished God of the Woods by Liz Moore, and I say finally because I think I started this on Thursday and it's now Sunday night. So yeah, this one definitely took me a hot minute to read. It is almost 500 pages, but also I'm just gonna come out and say I feel like it was really boring. It was really repetitive, and I just honestly did not want to pick it up because it wasn't really grabbing my interest. I think I last gave you guys an update on Friday when I was like, oh gosh, how far was I then? Maybe like 150, 200 pages. And then on Saturday, I read like another 200 pages. And then today I had a little under 100 pages to finish up. And unfortunately, on Friday, when I was saying that I was really hoping it would start picking up soon, I mean, I feel like it did pick up a tiny bit. So it's like we started off really slow and then we picked up a little bit, but then we like plateaued again until probably like the last 50 pages. And it's like, okay, why did this need to be almost 500 pages for a thriller mystery? Because I know on Friday I was also saying I'm hoping there is a magical realism element in this that I had kind of heard of before. No magical realism, no fantasy whatsoever. So I was like, why is this mystery thriller almost 500 pages? Like, if you can't wrap everything up before that, I just feel like it's not that good of a mystery, in my own opinion, my own reading preferences. It was so drug out. There were so many characters. You're constantly changing POVs, which, like, I get that there's a lot of characters involved in the disappearance of Barbara, the teenager at summer camp. But there's just like so many timelines going on as well that you're jumping around so much. Like, I wish we would have just kept on like a just linear timeline instead of jumping around so much. And I get that for the story, you might need to jump around a few times because there is another character who goes missing like years before Barbara goes missing, and they are like kind of tied together. But I don't know, I just think it was too much. I honestly have no idea how this won Book of the Month's Book of the Year, because it just was not that good. I've read so many other amazing books from Book of the Month in 2024. This was not it. This is like one of the lowest books from the 2024 list of Book of the Month for me personally. I think I'm gonna give it a 3-star rating. I definitely enjoyed it more than The Man Made of Smoke, which was the first book I read in today's video. I do feel like the author, Liz Moore, is like a good storyteller. I just wish she would have gotten on with it a lot quicker than it did in the book. As for like the twist and reveal at the end, it's like, okay, it's not all that shocking. I don't know, like with the disappearance of Bear and then the disappearance with Barbara, like both of them, I'm like, okay, that's it. Like, I just don't really know how else to explain it other than just saying I'm kind of unsatisfied. Like, it's definitely not the best mystery I've ever read. So do with that what you will. I feel like I didn't have a lot to say about this one, but that's because I feel like I don't have a lot to go off of for the actual book. Like, literally, I have nothing more to share with you than the first update I told you, and I told you what the book was about, because I just feel like it's been boring and very stagnant for the rest of the book until it does start picking up around the last 50 pages when the detective, that is one of the POVs we're following, starts piecing things together and following other leads. So 3-star rating. Definitely not the best from Book of the Month. But let's quickly go over the other 2 books I read for today's video. The first one I read was The Man Made of Smoke. Now, this was supposed to be like a more so psychological murder mystery thriller. I thought it was a really cool premise, and I know originally when I finished this book I said I was around a 3-star rating. I did decide to lower that to a 2-star rating because I just feel like it's kind of confusing, and there are other POVs you're following in this book as well other than the main character, but like the book doesn't tell you when you're switching POVs, so that was really confusing me, and I just really overall didn't like the writing style. I also didn't like the main twist or the main reveal for this book because it truly felt like it was so sloppy and just thrown in there. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go with 2 stars for this one. But we did find one amazing book in today's video, and that is Passion Project with not with Londonsberry, by Londonsberry. And this, I can already tell you, is going to be one of my favorite books of the year. I just cannot stop thinking about Bennett and Henry and their relationship and just like what Bennett is going through in life and how she deals with her own mental illnesses. And I did give this a 4.5-star rating instead of a 5-star rating because of the way Bennett acts at the end, but I do feel like she needed to kind of act that way so she could really have like a big character growth and development moment. And I'm laughing because my cat is trying to tuck herself in under a blanket, but she's struggling a little bit. So I really, really love this one. Would definitely recommend this book. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like, this was not the best book of the month video for me. I mean, I really only liked one of the 3 books that I read. Like, God of the Woods was okay. It was nothing amazing. But yeah, The Man Made of Smoke, the more I thought about it and sat on it, I was like, I really didn't like it that much. Like, there were a few things I did like about it, but overall, I disliked more than I liked. So yeah, I'm not gonna tell you to like go out and spend your money on a book of the month subscription. For me, for the most part, it has been pretty good. I got God of the Woods for free, so. But I feel like there's only been like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 books that I've gotten in the last almost 2 years that I didn't love. But this was a very productive video for me to get some of these books off of my shelf, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe down below and comment any videos you'd like to see from me in the future, and I will see you next time. Bye!